All right, welcome to Joshua Kemble's live stream, episode 289. I'm Joshua Kemble. I have been a freelance illustrator and graphic designer professionally for over 20 years. I was an art director for about 9 years and 4 months, and I am currently working on a couple graphic novels. The one I'm going to be working on today is Not Death But Love, The Strange Supernatural Story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. This will be a short stream for the morning, so I plan on streaming for about an hour, maybe 1 hour. And then from there, we're going to kind of see where we can go. So basically, I'm going to go swimming with my son at my friend's house at 1 o'clock. So we're going to be live streaming from 11:30 to about 12:30. And just doing some basic work on the comic pages for Not Death But Love, The Strange Supernatural Story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. If you want to support my journey into being a self-sufficient artist, feel free to hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications when we go live. And if you watch this before or after the fact, just go ahead and hit that like button. And in the meantime, what we're going to do is just some panel work. So let's see here. So basically where we're at on Not Death But Love, The Strange Supernatural Story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, we so far have everything done up into, we have 76 pages complete. We have pages 77 to 86 roughed out. And what I'm going to be doing today is taking the roughs for page 77, and then we're going to be making panel borders and all that kind of fun stuff. So stay tuned. That should be pretty fun. I'm going to go ahead and go to my daily stream. You won't see anything up there yet. We actually do need our script open. So our script is down here. What you're going to be seeing to my left pretty soon is Adobe Illustrator. So I'm going to show you guys what I do once I have a rough finalized to finalize the panel borders and the typography for this current book, which is being done digitally drawn. So we need to do page 77. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull open page 77 on my script. So that way I have text to copy from. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to page 77, the Photoshop file. I'm going to go to File, Open With, and we're going to go to Adobe Illustrator. And then I'll make sure once that's opened in there, it's going to say, like, do you want to import, flatten the file, that kind of thing. I go ahead and say, yeah, import as a flat file. But once that opens up, then I'll show it on the screen, and then we should have something going. I'm really excited about the changes that are coming. So for those of you who may not know, I left my position as a art director for a place that I've worked for close to almost a decade, and I'm now in this strange position of like kind of a blue sky, meaning I can. And by the way, this is taking a long time to set up. I just recently switched over my Creative Cloud from my day job to my own account. And so it might take a little bit longer to open. But anyhow, so it's like this blue sky moment that I'm actually pretty excited about. It'll be a lot more fun on screen once you guys can kind of see what's going on here. Once Adobe Illustrator decides to open. So I guess till it opens, we'll make it a little more interesting and just go full screen with me. This is really weird that it's not opening. Hold on a second. Open with. So anyhow, it's like this blue sky moment where there's a lot of interesting. It just said Adobe Illustrator just recovered from a crash. That's a little scary. So there's like this blue sky moment where I need to figure things out. And it's going to be pretty fun to kind of see where things go. And I don't need page 76 open. So I think that's what was throwing it off, was like it was trying to open page 76, which is not what I'm trying to do here. So what I'll do is, again, like I'm going to try really hard to open page 77, just kind of import that. And then we should be good to go. Here it is. Okay, it says flatten layers into a single image. And then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me get that set up. I probably should have done this before, but I just saw a little window of time where I can get some work done. And what I want to be doing on these streams is really, I want to be sort of sharing the process as I go. And so I'm hoping that I can do this. Here we go. Adobe Illustrator. Now you can see it. So this is my Illustrator file. Basically what I do is I take the rough that I had done. This is the rough for page 77 that we did on stream a few weeks ago, if not maybe a month ago. And what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and solidify these panel borders. What I do for this particular book is I make my panel borders in Illustrator, and then I import the borders into Photoshop and pretty much like trace over the lines so that they have like a hand done look, but they're a lot cleaner than the rough. But anyhow, so I'm in this really interesting phase because there's a lot of possibilities for what I can do for income. And there's also a lot of unknowns. And so like there's a bunch of stuff that I kind of want to try out. Like one of the things I want to do on this stream is I want to start doing, I did these haunted mansion portraits. I call them haunted mansion portraits. They're more like just portraits that look like an old Victorian portrait that you would see in a haunted mansion. And I did one of my wife, myself, and my kid. And I wanted to do one of my sister-in-law. But I also wanted to use it as a template for something that people could potentially commission from me. And ideally, I'd like to be charging about because they're fun to do. I wouldn't want to charge a ton. I'd probably want to be charging about $600 or something for a while for them. But I think when I introduce it to my stream, what I'm going to do is probably offer it at a ridiculous discount just to get people used to it. So I think maybe if people want that kind of commission, which I'll be doing the painting on stream, I have to kind of work out the setup. But that's something I want to do either today or tomorrow after kind of working on my comics work for the day. And once I have that kind of setup worked out so that we can watch, I can live stream while I paint. If people like the paintings, I'll be offering them at a discount, like for like $100 a pop for the first person who commissions it. And then it'll just go up $50 each commission. So $150 the next time, and so on until it reaches the amount that I'd actually be more comfortable charging for that kind of work. So that's an idea of something that I'd like to do. If you guys are watching, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to basically, so when I'm doing the panel borders for this, they have this kind of Victorian filigree that I already designed, like for page 1. And then I've proceeded to kind of set it up for each page subsequently. But what I go ahead and do is I kind of import these pages. And then we're going to basically go through over page 77, and we're going to start placing in stuff that we need to place in and working at our speech balloons and stuff like that. So should be fun. Let's see here. Here, I think that what I'm going to do first is I'm going to actually undo my move there. I do like line it up because eventually when I re-import these to Photoshop to kind of do the more kind of hand done look, I end up making sure that it's aligning with the page borders as well. But the nice thing is I already did that work on the rough. And so I don't have to worry about alignment too much as long as the boxes are kind of lining with the edges of the boxes, the panel borders on this. So I have these roughs. I have drawn these, panel borders in Illustrator. And it's great because it's like a template that then I can use for each page. So what we're going to try to do by like 12:30 today is at minimum just get this basic stuff done, like the panel borders for page 77. Because what I want to do tonight is I'd like to try to possibly finish page 77 from pencil to color. And then after that, maybe update my resume, and after that I'll be probably doing my the thing I was talking about with the portrait painting, and possibly doing one a week if there's enough interest for it. So definitely let me know in the chats if that would be something of interest to you, to see some kind of old school Victorian style portraits. I think it would be really fun. So it's either I'm going to do that or work on a series of greetings from posters. I'm actually really excited about too. But what I meant by blue sky moment is, there's a lot of opportunity in change. And if there's one thing I learned in my long time art directing, it's often that, like conflict can actually bring opportunity. And so I feel like this is actually really, exciting time to kind of get back into the type of work that I live and breathe and really enjoy doing. And hopefully an opportunity to kind of reset and reestablish some of the things that I'd like to do, rather than me being kind of stuck in like a corporate hole doing stuff I don't particularly enjoy. I think that is a really big opportunity. So here what I'm trying to do is just make sure that these are all even panels, because they should be, even though my rough didn't have them as such. I think I have snap to point on. Let me double check. Yes, I do. So when you're doing like things like panel borders and stuff like that, snap to point is like your best friend. That kind of allows your vector lines to sort of snap to whatever point you're pointing to, which is actually pretty good. And here we go. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that is dead on. Perfect. So now we have our panel borders kind of ruled for the top half of the page. So I just have to do the adjustments until then. If you guys are watching live, let me know what you're working on. I'd love to hear it. It's going to be interesting doing more kind of daytime streams. I'm actually really excited about that as well. I really do want to have more of a presence on YouTube. And, I think that being able to be free to do that and be kind of transparent with the process along the way, we'll kind of see how that goes. As far as freelance goes, I already have a couple leads that I'm pursuing. And a couple people have contacted me back already. So that's good. Because as I'm heading into this kind of new season, obviously, like, money will be an issue. It isn't quite now, but I'm sure that'll creep up pretty fast. And so I'm trying to make sure I have those ducks in a row. And then we're going to basically modify this. Let me make sure there's no more current 77 in my roughs, because there were a couple revisions we had to do recently. So no, 77 is good. Okay, good. That's great. So all I'm doing right now is just kind of moving my panel borders with this kind of ornate Victorian vibe. And I'm just kind of moving them on the page to kind of get everything set up and suitable. So now what I'm going to do is save this as I have my own folder for the type and borders. And we're going to go ahead and call this panels, like save it in my panels text folder. And I'm going to just call this roughpage77.ai instead of roughpage77.psd. And we have our borders pretty much worked out because it's on a pretty simple grid. Now we just need to do our speech bubbles. And this is where my script is going to be very helpful. Not a lot of speech on this. That's why I thought I could probably do this very quickly, like this live stream. Just generate a little bit of content. Okay, and we're going to do, what time is it? Where have you been? Is what she's saying here. I'm actually just going to copy that direct from the script. And then we're going to go ahead and paste it in, which should work in theory. What time is it? Where? And then have you been will be the next line. So yeah, I think to me, I think one of the things that is tough with creativity in general, and it definitely this definitely goes anytime you have a big life change, like a career change or anything like that. One of the things that can be the most paralyzing thing going through anything like that is indecision and overload of possibilities. And it's very similar to like when you're starting your own personal creative project. I think a lot of people get stuck in that zone of like, there's so many opportunities that they'll like, you know, like there's so many stories they want to tell that they'll wind up telling, you know, like 1% of each story and not end up finishing anything because they want to do this and they want to do that and they want to do like a million things, and there's a billion opportunities and options, and with endless choice, you're actually less free than by like restricting your focus. I think of it like targeting a you know, if you're playing darts and you're trying to throw a dart at a dartboard, if you just randomly kind of throw a dart at a dartboard, for anybody who's played darts, you're pretty much guaranteed to probably not hit anything. You might luck out and hit something, but in general, you know, when you play darts, you're going to have a much better chance, especially if you're playing like cricket elimination where you're going for specific numbers. You know, you're going to have a much better chance of hitting the thing you want to hit if you're actually aiming for it. And then maybe you'll miss and luck out and hit something else. But in general, I think if you're aiming, you're going to have a lot more opportunity to actually hit whatever it is you want. I think the same thing is true of creativity, where you can end up in a world of endless possibility, which can be a really dangerous place because you can be in that overload of possibility. And I feel like overload of possibility, while it sounds freeing, can actually be really crippling. And so that's kind of one thing I'm trying to avoid falling into as I'm going through this big life change of career, because to me, I want to just do targeted, specific goals and try to see if they work and see if they fly. And I want to do it in a very systematic approach so that I don't lose the plot. I don't want to just kind of scattershot, like panic and like send resumes all over the place or anything like that. I don't think that's ever very effective. But I think if I, like, for instance, that painting idea, I would really like to do that. If I'm able to set up my stream with what I've got so far to kind of accommodate that, I think that would be a fun thing to try. I'm not going to put all my eggs in that basket, but at least it's a basket that that is achievable. It's an achievable goal. And I think if I keep pursuing little achievable goals, inevitably, like, there's going to be some progress. And that's kind of how it's worked for me throughout my career and throughout my art career is, targeted focus tends to reap the most rewards. And so we're going to kind of see how that goes. So what I wanted to do before going swimming today with my kid is knock out this so that I'm in good shape, that when I get home, I can, get photo references and then pencil this page. And then from there, do some streaming and possibly finish up the page and get a finished page done. Because I've been doing a lot of roughs lately, and now I'm kind of in the zone to get one finished. With all that being said, we've just kind of finished it up, and I'm just seeing if there's anything with emphasis. There isn't. So I think we're in a pretty good position. If you hear water in the background, that's our new fish tank. We had some fish drama this morning. There's a giant chubby goldfish we have who has decided he wants to kill all the other fish in the tank. So we had to kind of isolate him in his own tank. So now he's got a spot. He's got a life, but it's in a different tank. Philip Chandler said, "Hey there, Josh. How's it going, Philip? How are you doing, buddy? I'm planning on streaming till about 12:30 today." Oh, Philip said everyone's in Chris's stream. Oh, that's right. Christopher Runciman is probably streaming right now. Well, don't feel bad. If you need to, you can go to Christopher Runciman's and hang out with him and watch this after the fact. This isn't a really like key or important stream. This is just me streaming real quick in between, till about 12:30 when I have to head out. I'll be streaming again later tonight, so definitely, make sure you keep an eye on that. Okay, so what we have now is we have our vectored, basically our vectored page with our vector panel borders and stuff like that. Philip said, he streams every day, LOL. Well, I'm planning on streaming every day too. So maybe Chris and I can do some crossover streams. That might be fun. Christopher, if you watch this after the fact, let me know if you want to do some hangouts on stream that are like, interlocking streams. That might be kind of fun. Because I'm going to be streaming quite a bit, actually. Philip said I have to work tonight, so hopefully the 3-hour difference is enough. I can still catch you. Yeah, well, I'll be streaming much later tonight. So, okay. So we've got rough page 77. I'm going to go ahead and save this. We are done with that. And now I'm going to go ahead and close out. And we're going to import. This is my little magic trick to this. What we're going to do is import. Let's find our rough page 77. And I usually will call this file. So here's our rough page that we were looking at before. What I will usually do at this point is I kind of make a blank layer. Oh, let me make sure we're still looking at, okay, let's go to Photoshop now. So what I'll do is open up the rough again without the live text over it. And I make like a blank layer and then I fill it with white underneath my rough. And then I merge my rough layer down on the white layer. And that way I have this nice little thing. And I can actually at this point merge the borders down too. So now we have like our rough here. And so my rough is here. And what I can do on my rough is actually turn the opacity down like a whole bunch. But the nice thing is I already have my panel borders ruled out, like where they need to hit. Like if you see the guides on the side of this page, that's all my bleed lines. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and now import the AI file into here. And it's going to say crop to, and it's got options like bounding box or other ones. I'm going to crop to bounding box. Hit OK. And then what I'm going to do is size this, like scale it, so that it's going to match with, line up with my safe area. So I have a safe area mapped out on these pages. And I have this kind of starting to line up. And then I'm going to free transform it a bit to match my guides. So this will put me in a really good spot when it comes to finally penciling these, which I will do over the vector without a ruler, so it has kind of a hand-done look. And here, okay, that's kind of lining up, but I can pull it a little tighter out. Let's see here. Okay, that's pretty good. And now it's like lining up really nicely to my my borders. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and turn off the visibility of that rough page, that rough. And then what we're going to do is turn off our extras because we don't need to see those anymore. And I'm going to turn down the opacity on the vector file that we just made. And that way I can make a layer above it and just kind of pencil over those lines with my, like this book that I'm working on has like this really unique kind of hand done, hand drawn sort of pencil-y look, shading look. And so this is just a really great way to get that vibe. And when I'm working in my rich black, which is 50, 50, 50, 100 in CMYK because this is being made for print. And now I'm going to go over it. And let me make sure. Okay, that's just on the white layer, I guess. Interesting. Okay. My white layer, for some reason, has like a little smudge. That's okay, too. That's actually a pretty easy fix. Let's fix that right now. Okay, I filled that. Okay, so now we're just going to go in and we're going to draw over this stuff real quick. And if you're just tuning in, know that I'm going to be live streaming till about 12:30. And my hope is to have this part of this page done, this like kind of hand done look to the whole thing. So we're using the guides we just made in Illustrator, and we're kind of going over them by hand so that it has more of like a scribbly kind of pencil look. Frank from Roll for Taraco said, my Mexican layer has a little smudge too, but it's just some beans from breakfast. Nice. I hope you had a good breakfast. I'm planning on, I'm going to go swimming with Ben at 1 at a good friend's house. And then after that, it's my friend that I record music with. So after that, Ben will get dropped back off at home, and then I'll record music for, a few minutes, maybe an hour or two at my buddy's house. And then when I come back, hopefully I'll have this page ready to rock and put my pencils in. because I like to get all this like text and border stuff out of the way first. It just makes it so quick and so simple. Kind of a big part of my process. So then this is the more kind of refined edge that, I have roughs for, but it's better to have these ones. And a lot of people could be like, well, you've kind of redrawn this, so why not just cut and paste from previous pages? Because I think it'll be cool when people read the final book to notice that like each thing has just like a slight deviation. And that'll kind of go to reinforce the idea of it having a really hand-drawn kind of look to it. So what I'm doing right now is just kind of going over these borders that I designed that we had just done in Illustrator. And we're doing just type and panel borders, okay? And then I will be doing more on this tonight after I get back from recording music and stuff like that. So now I'm using that, kind of pencil-y looking brush that I've been using for this book. And so what you'll notice is if I like take off this, it suddenly has this like cool kind of hand done look. And I love it. I love that hand done look. So that's kind of what we're mimicking right now. And it's a longer process, right? But I think at the end of the day, what you want is a good result. And I want cohesive pages where the panel borders, the type, everything in the book like should look like it was made with like the same instrument. Like that's what I kind of prefer. One of my pet peeves in comics is when you're reading a comic and there's like this really fluid, beautiful artwork, and then there's this text over it that's like just clearly digitally slapped on. Not to say anything against that. It's just I've become a real proponent of the idea of it being worth your while to hand letter, even if that means lettering digitally and then just tracing over your digital lettering in whatever tool you're using to make your comic. I think it just makes for a much more cohesive comic. It doesn't pull the reader out of the experience, in my opinion. This is my own opinion. But I think like when you have hand done looking art next to like really cold digital text, it tends to not read super well. There are times where like with anything, there's an exception to that all the time. But I think it's just a little trick you can do, and it helps immensely your comic kind of have more kind of fluidity to it. Okay, Frank said, cool, I'm in and out, working on a few things and listening to different things. Nice. So let's see here. Yeah, Philip said I'm 3 hours behind, so I'm guessing you're streaming for another half hour then. Yes, probably for another 25 minutes. I'm pretty much going to stop the stream when I finish this panel border. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about the idea of me doing some Victorian era haunted mansion style portraits as paintings on stream. I think that would be really fun. I really enjoy painting, and I haven't had the possibility to do that in years. And I think it would be really fun to do those and open them up for commissions. And if anyone wants like a really cool, rad, very authentic looking, actually painted, pretty traditionally painted Victorian era haunted mansion style portrait of themselves or of a family member, they could then commission me for it. And again, I would, have to make sure I can set up my stream to paint during. I think painting streams are always inherently a lot more fun to watch, just because it's a really cool process. Painting looks rad. But I also think, it might be a way to make a little bit of side income on top of, freelance illustration and hunting for, any full-time stuff if there's anything full-time I want to take. And again, I'd start it at something ridiculously cheap for what I charge, which would be about $100 for, a portrait painting. And I mean, traditionally painted portrait, and I can show those too on a stream in the future. And then it'll roll up like about $50 every time I do them. So like the first commission I do would be 150. The next one I'd charge, 200. The next one I'd charge 250, and I'd keep escalating the price. So there'd be incentive if you wanted one to kind of get in early. And then aside from that, there would be, obviously it'd have to roll up the price to be more like around like 600 or something like that for a painting of that kind. And then at that point, I wouldn't really be making a huge profit, but it would be fun. So to me, like that would be worth kind of working for a little less than I usually would. But that's the thinking on it. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about that. I think that would be pretty rad. And maybe we'll make that like a weekly thing on this stream, depending if it's like a success or not. So that's something I want to do today. Realistically, today I might just finish this page. I don't know. I have like an order of things I need to get done. And I know that I need to get a page done today. Either a finished page or a page of roughs. And I kind of was not feeling the roughs, so I was like, you know what? We'll do a start finalizing a page today. Live stream while doing it. The next thing I have to do, whether it's tomorrow or later today, is update my resume. It's been a long time. And then comics between that. So a lot of comics I'm going to be doing lately. And I'm going to be doing a lot more streaming. And it'll be all over the place because I really don't have to have a filter while I'm streaming. Which actually won't really equate to like too much bad stuff because it's not like I cuss all that much anyway. I don't tend to say like horrible things all the time, so, but it might get a little spicy, might get a little political, might get a little philosophical, might get a little contentious. There's a whole bunch of stuff I want to do, guys. A lot of stuff I want to do, and I'm just going to do it one step at a time. Again, little achievable goals. And we'll see what soars, right? So, do you see like how this kind of looks rad? Like, I mean, it looks really hand done. It's got like a wobbliness to it, right? But it doesn't look as cold and dead as like a vector line. That's what I want for this book that I'm working on. I mean, if those of you who've been following this for a while, you'll know it's like the final art on this looks very like rendered and kind of like old timey and Victorian. And so I'm trying to get that vibe with even the panel borders when people read it. So it kind of just almost becomes like a little thing in the background that people aren't really going to notice, but they'll notice. And this is part of how we're doing that for the borders. And the nice thing about working on a big graphic novel is generally you're going to have templates already set for your pages. So, when you're first establishing like the look of your page, especially if you're going to have like filigree or something like that, it can be kind of a beast. But at this point, I have all the assets that I've already built. And so this part of the process does not take an incredibly long amount of time. Whereas like the first few pages, it took a while, So again, we're just real quick, kind of, rocking these panel borders. I'm going to do the text too because I love the look of hand done text. So it's going to be fun to kind of, rock this. And I need to, like, again, I'm going to deviate quite a bit from the base type. And again, like, hopefully we can finish this up before 12:30, because that's when I gotta call it. How are you guys doing? What are you guys working on today? I hope you're having a good day. I hope things are working well for you. I hope you're being productive. I guess with my current adventure, I hope you guys are being adventurous. So yeah, today has mostly been kid had a doctor's appointment. There was a fish murder incident that we had to step in to prevent the murder of fish because one of our fish is a big, chubby, hilarious goldfish, but he likes to try to eat other fish. He is gigantic now, and he seems to have a hunger for the other fish in the tank. So we have like our 40-gallon, and that is where we're keeping all the other fish. And then we have kept him in our 10-gallon. Philip said he's working on Star Tales. That's awesome. I'm glad you're still rocking it. Philip, is that anthology still happening? I'm really excited about Star Tales. It sounds really cool, Philip. So I don't know, what sounds more interesting to you guys, the Victorian portrait idea or greetings from posters that show off the worst parts of cities or states? Maybe it'll be states. I was thinking the first one I should start with would be Florida. Okay, we're getting there, guys. And it looks like we might just make record time. So I'm glad I did this because it's funny. And this is kind of how it is with freelance, at least from what I remember. It's been a long time. But you kind of just have to take advantage of whatever time you have. So I had a little like 30-minute to an hour break between when we got lunch and when we were going to go over to go swimming. So I could just sit around like noodling on my phone. I could, hang out and kind of kill time, or I could actually get a little further on my comic, even if it's just the panel borders and speech balloons. And it's looking like, and of course, like the way it works with anything, right, is of course resistance comes and you like think to yourself, like, yeah, but like I probably won't have any time. Like it probably isn't enough time. And then once I get in the zone, like I'll have to leave or whatever. But it's like, no, actually, instead, I've saved myself an hour of work later tonight and also generated a nice live stream for you guys. So, hopefully that's cool. Philip said the anthology is still on. And he said I'm supposed to have my segment done by August 8th, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm trying, though. Trying is all you can do. That's the thing, guys. The art process, the life process, it's just trying. And you're trying as effectively as you can. And again, I think if you target your goals, great things can be achieved. And I'm hoping to be a case point of that, you know? Like I hope to actually kind of show what can be done, you know, in a situation like mine. And I hope not to be a bad example, you know. So I have to keep my head clear, you know, keep swimming, keep working, trust the process, and I think great things will happen. So we're just filling in the panels again. We're almost there. I hope you can see how that's kind of fun. It looks a little wobbly. It looks a little hand done. To me, it's much more interesting for the style that I'm working in to have this kind of border than just like a cold digital line. It just wouldn't work really well with the art style that I'm executing this in if I had like a cold digital line. There's just little deviations. Everything's going to look hand done. And that's going to be amazing. And I'm kind of intentionally moving fast enough to where there is wobble. You know, I don't want it to be too perfect. I don't want it to be too wobbly, but I kind of don't mind if these deviate quite a bit, you know, because I think that makes it much more interesting and much more like organic and hand done. And look at this, guys. It's like 12:18 where I'm at. And it's looking like we might just finish this the panel borders and type layout for page 77. And this will put us in a territory that's pretty good. So one thing I should mention is at this point I will call this page 77 pencils. And this will be the frame where we work our way from roughs, which I now have placed under, right, to finals. And that is a process that I'm going to try to do tonight. So hopefully I'll be able to be doing some live streaming and working on that page. Definitely have to take some photo references today and make that happen, but that shouldn't be impossible. This is really wobbly looking. I might have gone too wobbly. Let's find out. The nice thing is if I make this line parallel it a little bit, it probably won't look too bad. And then this one too has some deviation, but I'm not, again, I like the deviations. I feel like the deviations make it look really hand done and really organic. And that's kind of the whole goal of doing this sort of thing. So now I'm going to go ahead and file, save as. And I'm going to go ahead and save this as page 77 pencils. And now we have our panel borders, our panel borders, and our speech balloons ready to go for our page. And that's going to do it for this stream. So thank you guys for kind of tuning in and hanging out. I plan on doing a much longer stream later today, if not multiple ones. Stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed. You've hit that bell so you get notifications. There's going to be some interesting stuff coming up. There might be some traditional painting. There might be doing graphic design for posters and t-shirt designs. All sorts of fun stuff I'm planning on doing on stream. So make sure you are subscribed. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. And I just really appreciate you guys. I appreciate my community. Honestly, this YouTube channel is one of the things that's going to keep me going, I think, in this whole fight to find creative work and just kind of resituate my life to a different kind of a totally different thing than what I've been doing for the last decade for income. And I think that's actually kind of exciting. But you guys are a big part of that, so I really appreciate it. I will see you guys on the next live stream. Thank you. And nice. Philip was saying, hey, I might do a live myself after midnight my time. Nice. Well, I mean, again, we should all talk and stuff because I'm available for a ton of stuff. So I plan on streaming quite a lot, days, nights, all sorts of stuff like that. So, all right, guys, have a good night, and I will see you on the next live stream. Goodbye.